have the best electronics on your boat, but if you don't know how to use them, you know, it's not going to increase or help you fish any better. So we'll just go through some of it. A little bit about Garmin. So you guys know ICAST is a big event, so is NEMA. And Garmin's been ranked the manufacturer of the year for 4 years consecutive now. And our Panoptix LiveScope, which was built off of Panoptix, took best of show at ICAST, which is a huge win for us. So what are we looking at? We've got our clear view in the top left, we've got our side view combo there, and then our traditional sonar, and then Garmin's mapping. Now for those of you that have Garmin, you know that mapping comes pre-built into the unit if it has the word map in the name of the unit. So Echo Map has mapping built in, GPS map, mapping built in. Striker, no maps. But these are built in, and then through Active Captain you can actually download these onto your phone and you can pre-fish. And every pro that I know or pro staff will pre-fish a lake by downloading this onto their phone or going out to their boat, powering up the unit, and look at the lake before they go and fish. So you're pre-fishing where you want to go before you even start that tournament or before you even go out. You can set your waypoints in your phone, sync it up right away, and then push all those waypoints over to the unit. And it's as easy as I'm talking about it right now. So sonar, when everybody came out, we just had sonar, and that was sound navigation and ranging. So we sent out a burst of energy, and we waited for that reflection to come back. And the time that it took, we know the depth, or we know there is something suspended in the water. So on traditional sonar, the only time it's real is right there when it comes across the screen for the very first time. That's immediately the most live return you're going to get. 5 seconds, it's going to show up more in the middle. Obviously, 10 seconds it's going to get down. So we're showing that history, but the only live time is when it first comes on that screen. And then obviously fish would be suspended in the water column. So some technical sides of it is depending on what the water is like, you may have to go in and play with your gains. If we look over here and I go to sonar and I go to my traditional and I just go to menu and gain, right now it's on auto medium, but if I do too much, I'm getting all that noise back. And if I do too little, I filter out all those returns that I was getting. So every body of water is going to be different. If it's super murky or dirty water, you're going to want to play with that gain setting and watch for those returns to clear up on your screen and filter out all the small, impurities and everything in the water. Or you can just stick with auto medium, auto low, or auto high for your day. But that's one of the more technical sides of it is understanding how to play with that and get the best returns of the unit. Most of you guys are probably using Chirp, so that's the newest upgrade to sonar. It's compressed high intensity radiated pulse. So now we're sending out multiple beams of energy, multiple frequencies, receiving all those back, and then we're interpreting the best results that came back to the boat. So in terms of this here, we can see that really good separation there, and before and after. So on the left hand side of the screen, that was just sonar. On the right side of the screen, we have Chirp sonar. So you can see the difference of separation, especially in the top left here, or top right here, and the top right here, is now we're able to get that separation. So much clearer images with Chirp sonar, and also just ranging all those different frequencies. Some competitors, say they're Chirp sonar, but they'll only, chirp on certain frequencies. Garmin, you're actually getting all the frequencies being sent out and they're interpolated back. We don't skip over any frequency there. How many of you guys use side view? What do you guys use it for? Structure or to find fish? Huh? Both? All of the above? So with side view, it's really hard to see fish on side view because it's designed for structure. Now with UHD, we're able to see fish because we're increasing that energy that's being put out, so we're going to get a stronger return back. But side view is, primarily for finding that structure. And some of the The cons of it are, you know, in tournaments, you know, we're going about speed. So you wish you could go fast, but side view's got to be used at a slower speed. So you actually do need to slow down and putz around for those images to come back. You can't be, you know, on plane going across and finding that kind of stuff. Here's a picture of an amphitheater underneath the water now. So you can see with side view. Basically, for those of you who don't know, this yellow beam in the middle is basically our transducer. The black is what's directly underneath the boat, and then we're looking out 100 feet on each side of the boat. Another cool feature with Garmin is if we're in that side view mode, and so on here we see a lot of rock struckers, but say we saw someone we want to check out, we can draw over here and we can mark a waypoint and then navigate to that waypoint. So you're not guessing where it is. You can actually say, all right, I want to go there. You also have the history, so you can go back and find out where something was that you saw, and again, create that waypoint and then go back and fish that spot if you wanted to. Some combo screens to kind of see everything. So we've got our structure on our side view, then on our clear view, we're looking straight down at that structure. We can kind of see some fish as the really little tiny dots, but some of the bigger ones show up on it. But then we're able to go back to our traditional, that's, you know, the best for locating fish, and see those really nice arches that we're looking for. So that's one of the nice things about the combo screens too, is you can run them how you want to. Garmin doesn't limit you in how you use the screen. You tell the screen basically how you want to utilize it. Now getting into ultra high def, this is Garmin's version of mega imaging. I'm sure you've all heard of that. Now this will show some fish due to the intensity of the energy that we're putting out from the transducer, and that's shown here. So this is a bridge underwater. In the left-hand side of the side view, we can see the objects with the shadows. Those are actually fish laying down on top of the bridge that we're able to see, and then we're able to see the construction cones on the other side of the bridge. So structure, and there's actually some fish, you know, behind it on the very far left here. But on the left-hand side over there, those are fish. So we're actually able to use UHD to find fish now as well. Another version of it, UHD here, but you're seeing the fish suspended around there, and you're seeing the structure as well. And those structures are actually man-made structures that are those submerged underneath the water. And then zoomed in, you know, it looks like that, and you can see, you know, a school of crappie suspended above them and some bait fish on the other side there. So very cool. And then again, back to the combo to see that bridge again, and you can see it on the traditional, and you can see those fish suspended up around it, as well as back laying on the concrete there. So about 5 years ago, Garmin came out with Panoptix. So what Panoptix is live view sonar. So the way I describe it is it's like an ultrasound. You're seeing it in real time. When I had the slide up there for the traditional, the only real time you saw what was directly beneath the boat was as soon as it came out of the screen. Well, Panoptix is sonar video almost, so it's real time all the time. So if it's there, it's not, unless it leaves the beam width, it's still there, and you're gonna see it. So this is a screenshot of a combo, and on the left hand side we have Panoptix, and we've got a huge return coming, you know, about 23 feet out, but then we have our individual fish separated there, just like if we had it here. Here, this is a live preview of it, but the solid red is a bank. So we're looking at a bank and it's going up the shore. But we can see a huge school of fish out here and then some individual fish down here on the bottom suspended, moving up. Now this has echo trails on. It kind of clutters the screen a little bit. So one of those settings that, you know, I want to talk about is turning those echo trails off or on fast. That way it clears up the screen and you don't have as much of that pink coloration left on there. But going back to this, so we see the separation there and that really hard return. Well, that really hard return is actually a bridge pylon. So we're getting that return, and then we're seeing those fish are swimming around suspended off that bridge pylon. So some of the chart plotters and fish finders that Garmin offers are the EchoMap Plus series. Most of you might be familiar with them. We offer them in a 4-inch, a 5-inch or a 6-inch, a 7-inch, and a 9-inch. The 7 and the 9-inch are touchscreen units. So for those of you that love touchscreen, those are touchscreen units, but they're also button driven. When I say button driven, I mean that there's a zoom in and zoom out, and then a 4 favorites button here. So you can save, just like in your car, if you were to save a radio station, you can save a combo screen or a sonar screen and then quickly get to it right away. So if you're fishing a tournament, you don't want to sit there and have to go home, charts, and then fishing chart. You could just hit button 1. So speed is everything, time is everything, and nobody wants to fuss around with their electronics when they just want to go out for a day of fishing. You want to know how to use them, and that's the thing about Garmin is they're super intuitive to use. You can't break them, and everybody asks, how do I learn this? Well, the best way to learn it is to sit in front of it and just push the buttons. You can't break it. Go in, play around. The other best thing is Garmin has the best customer service you can ask for. I'll give you a number at the end, but you can sit in front of your unit and call our support team and say, hey, I talked to the Garmin guy was here, he showed this, but I don't remember how to do it. Can you walk me through it? And while you're on the phone in front of it, and they will walk you through how to create a combo screen or how to go into the menu and adjust the gain settings. I mean, that's what Garmin offers. So you don't feel like you have to retain all this. You can just call into that number 2 anytime and ask a question. We're more than happy to help you there. Some of them you can buy without transducers, and I say that because like some of you guys are wanting LiveScope. I'm assuming the guys that don't have it, that are thinking about it, you may run Lowrance or Humminbird, but at least maybe you want to get into LiveScope. You can buy a unit without a transducer and save yourself some money to put towards LiveScope. So for those guys that already have full setups on the boat that want to test LiveScope out, you can do it by just buying a screen and then the LiveScope setup. But some features of it, just the EchoMap Plus, they're bright, they're new 7 and 9 inch touchscreens, the crisp clearness of our screens. We share a lot of the technology because Garmin is not just a marine-based company, we also have fitness outdoors and an aviation company. Our aviation company got really good at screens, and we've been able to use some of that technology. So one of the hardest things when you're fishing is sunlight, sun glare, or having sunglasses on and then you can't see the screen because your sunglasses are polarized. With that, you don't have to worry about that. All of our new units are shipping with G3 maps. So we were G2 Lakeview HD, now we're G3. That is bringing the Navionics family into Garmin now. So like Brendan said, Garmin acquired Navionics just over a year ago. Everybody's been wondering how can you use a Navionics chip in a Garmin unit. The answer is you cannot use a Navionics chip in a Garmin unit. But what Garmin did is we took the best data that Navionics had and the best data that Garmin had, and we blended them and put them into the unit for the user. So you don't have to go out and buy the map separately. Now, a bunch of you raised your hand and said you had Garmin units already. The good news is if you bought a unit within the last year, you can use your one chart guarantee for your free upgrade. If not, you have to purchase the upgrade maps, and I believe they're $99, and they're starting to ship tomorrow. But that would give you the most comprehensive map package on the market today. Nobody else has that. So that is really, one of the great features. So we were talking, we're talking over 17,000 lakes with 1-foot contours. And Garmin's just building upon that because we actually operate our own survey team to make the most comprehensive maps. So there hasn't been a whole lot done around here, but like Table Rock and like Kissimmee, if you guys travel, you can go out to lakes.garmin.com and see all the lakes that Garmin has surveyed in max depth that are in the units. if you're looking for just a fish finder GPS unit, then you're talking about Striker, where those maps aren't built in. So if you're, just recreation and you just want to see the fish and go out and still have GPS and mark waypoints, you can do that with the Striker. But we'll talk about LiveScope. So LiveScope is built off of Panoptix, but instead of being colors like this now, we've actually overlaid it to the down view or the clear view imaging. So it's going to be a picture like that. So now you're getting this. So this is LiveScope. So what we're seeing here is at 0, that's where our transducer is. We're looking 70 feet out, and we're actually looking 25 feet behind us. The transducer is a 3-element transducer, all angled at different elements, and that is able to give us that. So we can see that's a tree very distinctly, and we can see all those crappies suspended off that tree and swimming. Some of you may have used it already or know somebody that has, but same thing, you actually can see your lure come down, see if the fish is interested, whether or not you need to jig it more quicker or slow it down a little bit. But we're able to actually see the fish now underwater. In a tournament, a lot of guys, you pull up to a dock, drop it in. If it's on your trolling motor, scan that dock. If there's no fish suspended there, you're going to pull up the trolling motor and go to another dock. You're not going to, take the time and throw at that dock, 15, 20 times to see if there's something there. You'll know right away whether or not there's a fish there. It requires a black box. So here, now granted it is 14 feet of water, but we're able to see a tarpon in about 4 feet of water. That's down in Florida. And you can actually see the thin structure of that tarpon. With LiveScope, everything is to scale. So over here, if it fills up between 25 and 30, that's a 5-foot fish. Now, I'd like to see that, but around here it's more, northern and crappie and muskie. Walleye. But muskie, yeah, I'll show you that video. Some of you might have seen it, but it shows up really big on the screen. 2 ways to use it. Again, you can see out forward, or you can be in the down view mode. So we're looking straight down as opposed to looking out in front of us. But again, we're seeing that good structure, and then again, we're seeing fish, suspended right there off the bottom near the trunk of that tree. So on GPS map, some of you guys that may have it already, the one thing that we've been hounded on is we want to be, the user wants to zoom in and zoom out of LiveScope. It's available on GPS map currently right now. Our hope is to bring it down to the EchoMap versions with the software update in the future. So that way you could literally do just here and zoom in on that structure and really see it. And it gives you a window of what you're zooming in and what is on the outside of it. But Garmin being a technology company, we're able to push software to the unit. So it's not like you have to go out and buy a new unit every 2 years. We're a big tech company, and our goal is to keep the units out and around as long as we can push the software to the unit to make it capable of doing it. So some people are probably wondering, how many transducers do I have to have on a boat? Well, with LiveScope, you can actually do traditional and clear view as well as LiveScope, and that's demonstrated here in a combo. But we've got our traditional sonar up at the top. On the bottom left, we are actually using LiveScope transducer as just a clear view image, and then we're running our LiveScope on the right here to see it in real time. And then these are just some screenshots of the clear view imaging coming out of that LiveScope transducer. So there is a Garmin announced about a month ago the LBS-12. It's a LiveScope transducer. Same specs in terms of distances, but you're only getting 30% of the beam. And it kind of show it on here. So it's a 20-degree beam width, so we're looking out 20 degrees, but that 135 degrees is so back here all the way out to the front. With the LBS 12, you're only getting a 30-degree beam angle, so you're getting the 20 degrees cone going out, but then you're just going to get the 30 degrees here, so you're going to miss from the 135 back to where it says 30 again. And the reason it says 30 again there is you can actually run down view LiveScope and forward view LiveScope at the same time. Now, the LBS 12 works on the GPS map. So yes, it is $500, but then the unit that it runs on is more expensive than, say, the Echo map. And that's where, you know, most guys are like, well, why would I buy a bigger unit and only get 30% of it? Well, it's made for those guys that, you know, may have a GPS map already and want to bring LiveScope, but they don't need all the functionalities because they're not fishing all the time. So the actual LiveScope with the black box is the best option. Again, here's a combo page just looking out and down in our map. And you know, we can go through here to create a combo. It's just the same thing on the Echo maps, but if we just go into our combos here and we hit menu, we can add a combo, and then it tells us right there, tap to add. Do we want to name it? If we want to change our layout to say 3, these are all the available options that are available in the units. And then say we wanted one like this, it says tap to add. So I'm just going to tap and add it, and I'm going to put my chart up top. And then over here we'll do our traditional sonar, and then here I could do we'll do side view and be done. And then that I mean, just the ease of use. So that's Garmin's thing, is ease of use and simplicity. A couple more screenshots of just the LiveScope. Here is one. We've got on the top of the combo, we've got fish that are about 40 to 45 feet in front of the boat. And then we drove over those fish, and they came into view on our downscope or our down view here, but also on our clear view. We're actually seeing the same school of fish at the same time, which is pretty neat. So we're verifying that there are fish there. Again, we're looking out. We can see kind of where it says 11.6. It's very cluttered. Well, that's a big school of baitfish up there, and we're also seeing it in the down view imaging look of LiveScope as well. Just another. Again, we're getting that target separation, whereas in regular Panoptix, you know, forward, it's more of a clutter of objects moving around. But if we go to LiveScope, you get that separation over on the left side there, and the separation here. So for that, we're focusing that energy on those targets, and we're getting those better returns back to show that target separation. Let's show. So they're jigging for muskie. Oh, maybe. YouTube thing called uncut angling. So we can see a ton of baitfish, and see his Alabama rig come down, and those baitfish kind of kind of get out of there. But over here, he just left, but we saw a huge muskie show up on the screen over here. And we can just watch this a little bit, kind of just show what you're looking at. But about here, we see a huge muskie come up off the bottom right there, and it chase that lake. So you can see the size of that muskie. That's a decent sized muskie on the screen. I mean, you can actually see the fins and everything of it, and he's just jigging, his lure right there, and you're seeing all that in real time. So it's really a game changer. Everybody that I talk to at shows, they're like, well, that's cheating. Well, it's not cheating. It's still sonar. It's not a video or anything. It just
pissed me off.
It helps you out a little bit.
Just see that face right there. Look at me.
You will. So right, and it's cool. Oh, we got a commercial.
Good old YouTube.
I think the video is more appropriate.
So we can really see how interested the fish is in that lure. It comes back for it and then just watches it go by. I mean, really trying to get his attention. And right there, he went, and now he's got it. And you actually saw on the top, he pulled up and you saw the fish come up at the same time. So that really shows how real and no lag there is in the unit. But nice muskie. A couple more. So we'll see there that he's interested. Backs off of it a little bit. I think that's the one he caught already. So there you can see the fish on the bottom there, and it coming up again. It works on small fish, I promise. I've had it out ice fishing, and it works. I wish I had some. It's more like this for ice fishing, so you're not seeing, the fins of the bigger fish, but you can still tell that those are fish swimming around that structure there. He actually says it really good here on a traditional, normal transducer. You're getting a cone that's mounted on the back of the boat that's looking straight down. So if your lure is not in that area and you're seeing those fish aren't seeing that lure. But with LiveScope, it actually draws it up here, which is a really cool reference of it. But you're getting an oval, and that's kind of what this is. Imagine this out of here, but it's about 5 degrees wide, but 135 degrees this way. So if it's mounted on the back of the boat or on the trolling motor, we're getting all of that area. So we can kind of drift and all that doesn't really affect us because that beam angle is so much greater now that the odds of us our lure being in that beam angle now is that much greater. And we're able to see the lure on the plotter. If it's not in there, you would know. But pretty cool video. He's got some really neat videos of the. But again, here's some fish moving through. Oh, we're gonna get another ad. But really showing that jigging movement. Something small there. So we got another good sized muskie that's been in the frame there, coming up to look at it, and he's hooked up, and you're watching that fish come to fight to the surface now. So that's LiveScope. With that kind of being said, I can pause that, and like I said, I really want to answer your guys' questions. So with that, let's see if you can stump me or not. So I think the best way to do this is probably so I don't skip over anybody. I'll take care. We'll like zigzag from the front to the back. That works. So I don't know if anybody's got a question here. So you?
Go ahead,
Nope,
both
you.
of us.
I just, between the two transducers, the $500 transducer
Yep.
and then the other transducer, are you gonna get the same performance here, or I didn't quite?
Yep. So you'll get the same performance. So the question was between the LVS 12 and the LiveScope LVS 32. That's the black box. Performance-wise, you'll see out still the same distance, and you'll get the same depth distance, but you're losing that cone angle is now 5 degrees and 30 degrees. So you're gonna have 30 degrees down and 30 degrees forward, but only 5 degrees, wide. So you're missing that middle
That
chunk.
middle
So
chunk
if I've got
that's
30
shown
here
over
and 30 out there, I'm missing this middle with the LVS 12. So you're losing that. Does that answer your question?
I'm not quite following you, but that's okay.
So if
Go ahead.
let me go back to this image here.
Remember that chart you showed with
Right.
the whole bow, and then
Yeah.
you had that one chunk here in
You're-
the middle? You're losing that chunk in the middle.
Your left to right, is that 5 or 20? When you're looking, if I got it mounted on my trolling motor,
Yeah, sorry, I was saying 5. So your 20 degrees
Okay.
is the same, but you're losing this area where it says 135 and you've got the 2 lines. You're losing that out of when you go to the LVS 12.
okay.
So you're gonna have that gap in the boat there.
My question was, the LVS 12 or the 32, is that the one you're saying is losing it, right, the 32?
No, the 12 is.
The 12?
Yep.
And what I was asking is, where are you mounting that, like say on the trolling motor?
So
Does it have to go on the bottom of the trolling motor?
Nope, you can mount it
Or is
on the
like,
shaft.
Or is it like the 360 shaft?
Yeah, so you can
On a
mount it on the
Honeybird.
shaft, but so like I know this isn't come out because I know guys are running it all the time.
See, I've got
All-
birds, but I'm
Okay.
really thinking about putting one of these on there
Yep.
up front.
So the thing, like if you have an Ultrex, you got to remember, like if you spot lock or whatnot, that wherever that transducer is looking is where you're going to see the image. So if you have an Ultrex and your motor's moving around like this, trying to keep you in spot, your LiveScope Sonar transducer is going to be going like this as well. So Garmin doesn't offer it, but a lot of the guys are like gunnel mounting it, so it's separate from the trolling motor, or they're using it just to locate, the school fish, and then they're hitting their spotlight because they know that school fish was out there, they know their distance to go to.
But are they fabricating, or is there somebody that makes a gunnel mount that just, will
They're
drop down?
They're just
or
coming
what?
up. So I mean,
Yeah.
and you can see him on YouTube. The guy here, he's actually just using the Garmin ice fishing pole, and then basically took a board, put a hole in it, put his ice fishing pole down, and then clamped it to the gunnel of the boat. So I've seen guys with conduit and
I mean, Panoptix was pretty much like 360, was it not? Or no?
no.
How was it? It was
No,
just a
it
regular
was still wherever.
bottom mount.
Yep,
on
it
the-
was. So you had 2 different versions of the Panoptix. You had 3. You had the big puck that would face forward, again the same, or mount it straight down, and then you had the PS21 and then the PS22, which we have now, which is forward when it's facing forward, and then you got to pull it up, twist it down for the down view part of it. But with doing that gunnel mount, it's separate from the trolling motor now, and you can point it where you want it to go still. So hope that answers that.
Gives me a good idea.
Do you have one?
Well, first off, if you want to pre-fish another lake, how do you bring that lake in on your unit? That's what I was telling you earlier.
Yep.
Bring that in to where you can look at it. I don't know how to find that lake, where you even go to find it. All I know is what's there, you hit charts and it shows you that, but I don't know how to bring another lake in. And the other is, I've run into this like on Lake Erie, being new to this. Some guys would be out there and, and then say, you'd call them and say, where are you?
Mhm.
And they'd go, well, I'm at this coordinates.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at my map and I'm like, I have no idea where they even look. And they go, look at your map. And I'm like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, you should know that. I don't.
Yeah.
And,
So the first part of it, to kind of pre-fish, there's multiple ways we can do this. So we can go to our fishing chart, and you know I'm on Syracuse here, but say I want to go up into Michigan, we just zoom out and we'll go kind of around this area, you know, Cass. You know, the best way, you know, is to do it that way. I mentioned Active Captain and downloading that into your phone. So the way that works is you create a log. It works for Samsung or iPhone or iOS device. It's available in the App Store. You download it, you create your login, and then you're going to want to register your device in it. And by doing that, we go to our Active Captain app in the unit, when the unit's powered on, and it's going to walk us through how to do it. Now, everybody in here, I'm sure, knows how to connect to Wi-Fi in your house. That's basically what we're doing to the unit. But it's Wi-Fi so we can encrypt it so nobody else can get into the unit. It's not like Wi-Fi, so you can't go search the web or anything like that. But we're going to configure the device, and it's going to then learn and record that serial number and know that you have the Lakeview maps built into that unit. Then if you go into the chart store and the app, it's going to say charts, and you go in and you hit Lakeview, then you can download the tiles that you want to download. So if you don't want to bring in all the US lake maps and take up all that data on the phone, you can just download Syracuse Lake and tap that tile, and it will download on there. And then you'll have it for preview on your phone. Then you can mark those waypoints, and then if you go back to the boat, you just create this, and you're going to sync them, and it's going to push those waypoints over to the unit now.
Yeah, as I have that on my phone too, and
Yep. So if I get on this,
and maybe later do it. I know on the unit I have, it has where you can create a map.
Yep. Quick draw.
How you would do that?
So that's one of the things I haven't touched on.
Okay.
But if we're going to the fishing chart here, and the question was, how do you do quick draw? So Garmin allows you to use the transducer on your boat and create a map of a lake with 1 foot contours. If there's no contours, or maybe they're not good. But now we're able to give you that option to go out and map a lake. So if I zoom in here, you gotta have a, a SD card in the unit to save it to, but we'll just go to menu, which I did here, and then we'll go to quick draw contours, and then we can start recording. Now it says insert memory card here because I don't have one in there, but it'll actually start drawing the map right over the screen for you, and you'll see those contours coming up on
What mode does that usually have you in? And I'm asking that, is it like a side view where it's taking up a huge area to draw the map, or is it a 20-degree angle it's drawing a map at?
Yeah,
How
so-
tight do you got to keep for those?
No, so the beam angle is pretty great. I don't know the exact angle that it is, but it's like a side view swath, so you're seeing far out on each side of the boat.
I'm asking that so you wouldn't have to go, okay, I just went 20 feet out around the, now I got to go another 20 feet out.
And it'll draw it on the screen for you in a color, and then that way you know how much to overlay or to skip and leave some room in between.
You're on the map with the side imaging instead of the down imaging, or what?
No, so it's using all the elements in the transducer to draw that map. And the thing is, the more times you go over it, the more times the better it's going to get. So it's going to add more details each time, because if we're looking out over here and I'm here, it's different than if you drove directly over the top of it. You're going to see more of that definition and better return.
Can you record making a map as the same time you're looking at your units
Yep.
and fish one?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. So the question there was, can you record and fish at the same time? The answer is yes. It will record in the back side of the back. I don't know how to say that, but while you're looking at like your Sonar or something, it will still be on your mapping page recording for you.
If you have multiple transducers on, should you turn?
No, so the thing, it's nice with Garmin transducers, you really don't have that interference, because we're running different frequencies and everything, so you're not getting that interference. Does that answer your question there? One other thing was waypoints.
Yeah.
Or coordinates. We go, you can do a new waypoint, and then we can just enter the coordinates in right there. So kind of slowed down a little bit. If I go,
Okay, but if they give me their, okay, that's the same, so if they give me theirs, I can punch, I
Yep, you
have to
punch them
punch
into
it
the
in.
unit. Yep, and then that's
Okay.
gonna create you a waypoint. So we went to waypoints, we went to a new waypoint, and then we entered coordinates. That's gonna be
Okay.
the same thing on the Echo Map units as well. If I can pull this up, but if I went into charts, fishing chart, and then I went to mark, edit waypoint, I can actually edit the position by entering the coordinates into the unit as well. So that is possible if they gave you that coordinates, or maybe some of you guys want to
Makes
share your
sense.
favorite fishing spots with your buddy and give him the coordinates. No, but any other questions?
No, that's it.
Any questions through here?
How far back on the model lines do you go to offer support for the firmware updates and that kind of stuff?
So the question was, how far back do we go back for software updates? It's kind of no real answer to that, but I can tell you, like, the newest stuff, it's going back to the Echo Maps, but before that is when it kind of gets iffy on whatnot. The best thing to do is to go out to Garmin.com on something like that, type in what unit you have, and then you'll be able to go to software and see what update is available. So if it says 7.5, and then I can go over here to, I go settings and then system information, software information, and I'm on 14.1 right now. So if my unit says 7.5 and the website says 14.10 for that unit, you can update to that software. Any questions over there? All right, we'll come back this way right here.
Running our transducer on the trolling motor.
Yep.
While the trolling motor is running, and if we've got the fish alarm on, it will mark fish. But if the trolling motor's off, it will not mark nothing. And we was in like 4 or 5 foot of water and clear water, so I mean, we could see there was no fish there. What is causing that?
What kind of trolling motor is it?
Minn Kota.
Minn Kota. And you're using the Garmin transducer mounted to the barrel. Do you know what kind of transducer it is off the, like, is it
It's the
GT20, 22, 50,
whatever's on the Echo Map.
7, 9,
9.
9? And you're saying it's marking fish when the trolling motor
Motor is
is
running.
running, but not
When it's off.
When it's off. Okay.
I gotta wonder if you're seeing interference.
There may be, but your best, the 1-800 number I'm gonna give you, that's gonna be something to call into them. I haven't heard anything of that, but that's why I always give people this number, is they field hundreds of questions a day, where I field just some of
But it was
these.
he,
So that's really interesting.
cause at the time, we had the Garmin up on the trolling motor, and we had hummingbird back.
Yep.
And I was up front, and I said, well, we're marking fish, and they said, well, hummingbird, they got nothing on it. It's like, oh, okay, it shows her right there, as soon as we shut it off, we didn't have it, it wasn't marking.
It wasn't marking anything. Yeah, you're getting some interference there, but I don't know why. You shouldn't be. I mean, I haven't heard of that. So make sure you write down the number that I'm gonna give you guys. Anything over here? Back
How
here.
fast can you drive your boat when you're mapping out a lake?
The best returns are gonna be about that 12 knots and under. So,
What is well?
so 13, 14 miles an hour.
Okay.
Sorry, use knots. Yeah, probably that 13 miles an hour and below is the best returns. You'll actually be able to see it too, because you're gonna fill it in with green, and if one of those squares go red, that means you went too fast and it didn't get a good return, so you'll wanna go back over that area. So it kind of tells you stuff like that, whether or not you're getting that good contour, because those contours will actually paint on the screen as you're mapping, if you're watching it. Yes, sir.
Are you coming out with LiveScope lights fishing on
I don't know. Don't have an answer for that. You can make your own bundle. which everybody's doing now. It does fit in the large case. That's what I did. I just mounted the black box in the, but as far as coming out, I haven't heard anything on that. Anybody else on this side? There were a lot more hands earlier.
What's a good speed for side view when you're just out scouting?
Again, it's kind of like that.
You don't want to go over a certain speed.
Yeah, it's kind of like that quick draw. I mean, you'll start seeing all the lines coming in it. That means, you know, you're getting that space and you're not getting those good returns. So, again, at 10, 12 miles per hour. This gentleman had his.
Yeah, on your Panoptix view, I've been watching a million of these videos on YouTube.
Yep.
And between the LiveScope and Panoptix, do you lose that much clarity of what you're seeing, trees and stuff, compared to, you know, blobs? Like LiveScope actually breaks the tree down, shows bubbles and stuff, compared to Panoptix, it's just kind of.
Yep. So in normal Panoptix, you're gonna have those blobs, which so it is kind of more blobby here. It doesn't show real good structure on this demo loop, but if there was a tree, it would be that really solid. I think I had it in the slideshow, that big solid return that was right in the middle. Is kind of what it. So you can't really show. It doesn't show if it's weeds or whatnot.
Break it down.
No, but we're able to see up to 300 feet out with normal Panoptix. With LiveScope, it brings it down to 200 feet because we're increasing that frequency power, so we're losing our distance that we can see out. But in losing that distance, we're able to see that much more definition and target separation on the LiveScope. So you'll really see that tree being defined in LiveScope.
So on this, will it show the hard bottom compared to where it goes up to the soft weeds on Panoptix?
Yep, so this really hard, the red is gonna be that really hard bottom. Obviously, if it's not that solid, it's gonna be a softer bottom. For weeds, it's very hard to tell weeds with Panoptix, but it's much easier to see weeds with LiveScope.
Because one guy brought up a question, I've been chasing these for about a year or so, and I don't want to really waste money on the ice bundle. I want the LiveScope to be able to do ice and boat building and things.
Yep.
For the price that we're getting into.
Absolutely.
That's why I didn't know if they were going to come up with a 9-inch like building and drop the price down a little bit, or.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about them coming, what we've got coming down for ice next year. The thing with the Echo Maps is you can buy just like an Echo Map and then the Panoptix and then the bundle if you wanted to build it yourself. The bail mounts, I think for the Echo Maps are like $39.99, and that brought up a great point. Is for those of you that don't know, the quick release brackets that you have are great. You just pop them right out. You can take it, out of your ice bundle and then put it in the bow of your boat, just by adding a new cradle. So this can all stay hooked up, and then for $39.99, I think it's the real cost. You can buy that cradle and power cord, and then put that on your boat as well. And then you've got the transducer already from when you bought the bundle's just the Echo Map, and then you're just going to use the LiveScope transducer during the winter time. Does that answer that?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Could you tell me exactly what you're gonna need to run LiveScope? Bare bones, because I don't have any Garmin's.
Yep.
And so what would be required?
So
You're saying the black box that's just a processing unit.
Yep.
correct?
So the LiveScope will actually come with the black box and the transducer. Everything you need is in that box, with the exception of the head unit. You still need something.
So I
to
just
run.
have to buy a head unit.
So
what head units are compatible for that?
Any Echo Map 7, 9, and up. So the Echo Map 7 and 9, and then any of the GPS series. Striker won't run
the
it.
GPS series the better units, or what? What's the
So
best?
they just are. They're. I mean, we make from a 4-inch screen all the way down to a 20 or up to a 24-inch screen. The GPS maps are then you're integrating, capabilities for radar and stuff like that.
Right.
So a lot of functionality that you won't use. The reason guys will go to GPS map route is because they want a bigger screen than a 9-inch. You can get a 10, 12, or 16-inch And all the pros are running 12-inch screens right now. So that's why some guys will spend that money. But if money's, you don't want to spend, $5,000 for a screen in LiveScope, they'll settle for that 9-inch screen.
Yeah. I've got 3 Helix 9s right now.
Yep.
And from what I'm seeing, I'd like to run a Garmin up front, with the other Helix 9s.
Yep. So like you could buy a 9.
I was gonna go with 360, but I don't think I am now.
You could buy a 9 without a transducer and save that money that I was talking about, and then put that towards. You just won't get a.
The pack for
Yep.
the LiveScope.
Absolutely.
What kind of power, as you mentioned, I've heard a lot of men that have bought these Helix units, and they tell you they suck the power. And I mean a lot of times, right now, how is this compared to them?
So I don't really know what the Helix
The
stuff
Helixes don't so much
drawn.
suck the power as long as you've got a 31 series or above battery. You're good.
Yeah, I don't know.
but-
I don't know what they're drawing.
They're even saying some of the Bass Pros will turn them off. Well, you see those big screens they got, but they say they'll turn them off once they get to a spot sometimes because they suck so much
Well,
power
it doesn't
down.
make sense to sit there and have your 2 at the bow.
Yeah. So
Or I mean, at the
Garmin does-
console going when you're
Yep,
fishing up
Garmin
front,
does the same thing. We can sleep units.
Put 'em in
so-
standby or
yep,
whatever.
we can sleep a console unit if you just want your bow units, or sleep your bow units if you just want your console unit. That's possible.
Yeah, so, last thing you want to do is go start your boat or something. And,
Well, a lot of us are and what I'm gonna do this year is I'm putting a separate battery just for my electronics.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah,
Because I've
definitely.
had a problem that my motor draws so much current when I start it sometimes it'll drop out my console unit.
Okay.
Because these new units are digital and they're so sensitive. If you bring that power below 9 volts,
Yep.
they're gonna power down.
They power down. Or you
so-
lose your transducers.
Exactly.
But the unit still stays on. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Back to your mapping, since you guys integrated with bought Navionics.
Yep.
Did they incorporate all the maps from Navionics into this newest map update?
Yeah, so I would say 90% of the maps are probably Navionics mapping. I don't have a direct or exact number on that, but we took a ton of Navionics data and brought it in.
Sure.
But then, like I was saying, Garmin's got their own survey team, so we've had some really good data. We had some really good data that Navionics didn't have. There's no way to tell whether or not it's a Garmin map lake or Navionics data lake.
Hamilton Lake over here is one of the lakes I fish a lot, and that one was never in their HD series, so.
Okay.
It was like, there was no reason for me to buy a map update.
Yep.
When the lakes I'm fishing Syracuse was not on it
Okay.
before.
But yeah, so the mapping that's in this one is the G3 mapping, so feel free to stop up here and kind of check some of the lakes out nearby. But, yes, sir.
What's the process to get that map listed?
So the map update will be released tomorrow online. It's as easy as going through Garmin Express and doing it. It'll show that you have a map update. Otherwise, you just purchase the map, through Garmin.com for it. But if you do have that free map update that comes with when you buy a unit, you get a one chart guarantee. So that means if we came out with new maps within the last year of you buying your unit, so if you bought it February 27th of last year, and they come out tomorrow, you can update for free the maps in your unit. Now, if you bought it January or December, call the 800 number for our support team, and I'm sure they will work with you if you're 2 or 3 months from being outside of that 1 year update. Garmin's pretty good about that. But like I was just saying, Garmin Express, if you registered your device, it'll show in Garmin Express that you've got a free map upgrade, and then you can use it to update. So the thing with the update though is if it is the when I say old Echo Map, I just mean the Lakeview Echo Map. You save it to the card, and that card does have to stay in the unit. There's not enough memory in those units to support taking all that data. So that's the only drawback there is that SD card would then have to stay in the unit.
What was the version number of the map update?
It's G3.
G3.
Yeah, Lakeview G3. Any other questions back there? Oh, yeah.
I got one.
Yep.
Just to clarify, you can use the 93SD EchoMap, not the EchoMap Plus. Is that LiveScope compatible, or do you have to have Plus in it?
The Plus.
Plus, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any technical questions on in terms of gain? One thing that I did want to, some of you said you had LiveScope already, right? Raise your hands if you have it. You have it. So some of the things for gains on either Panoptix. So if we're in LiveView 4 here, we'll want to kind of optimize the use of it. Is we'll go into Sonar setup and we'll go to appearance, and then we'll go to color gain, and we'll actually turn our color gain all the way up to get those bright returns. And then if we go back, we will actually go to our gain, and we'll play with the gains in about the 50s to 70 range. You just play with it until you start getting those good returns. But we're kind of able to see then there. You know, if I turn it up in that 60 range, so we're getting those really good returns now. It kind of takes some of that guesswork out of it. And then, like I said, for the where is it? The trails, either fast or off. I prefer them off. That's my personal preference. Otherwise, I think you'll be happier with the result if they're on fast. Because again, we're clearing up. We don't have nearly all of that pink shadowing that was on the screen earlier. It really cleans that up. Same thing goes with LiveScope. There, we just go to menu, and then Sonar setup, appearance, and our color gain is already up to 100%, and our gain is in that 72 range. And bring it down, kind of keep it in there. But really what we're doing is we're filtering out those really small noise targets and just leaving in those really good returns. On traditional, same thing with gain, playing with the gain in traditional sonar, we're reading the air bladder of the fish there. Is basically what that is bouncing off of and giving us that arch. So to filter out some of that small stuff, just play with those gain settings, and depending on what body of water you're on. For side view, especially on the 9-inch screens, I've noticed that running not over 75 feet aside is best, because when you talk about a 9-inch screen, you're limited on space. So if you're trying to see over, 100 and something feet, you're crushing all that data to get it to fit on the screen. By going, 75, you're opening, you're not making an accordion. You're able to lay that data out more and really utilize that return that you're getting. So there's some of the settings on that kind of stuff. But, yes, sir.
I'm probably an old dinosaur here and all that kind of stuff, but I noticed when you asked about who's got the Panoptix and all that kind of thing, there's about 4 or 5. Ask how many people have got the old traditional strikers or whatever they are on their boats now.
How many people have old, I'm not going to say old, but how many people have strikers and such on their boat now? Okay.
Yeah, still not very many.
But
I'm old school. I turn that thing on, I look at it, I watch the bottom,
Yep.
watch for weed beds,
Yep.
and I'm fishing. That's all I got time to mess with. I don't have time to be fishing buckets.
So do you have any questions about that? The striker stuff and the traditional stuff?
Can you get one of the striker unit that I'm buying a new total board? I want to get the Minn-Kota iPilot with transducers in it. And I called my Kota and they didn't seem to know anything about the striker units.
So no, the transducer that's in this will not. It would work with an EchoMap but not a striker.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yep.
So I can get a cheaper iPad or iPilot and use it can't tie it to the shaft because that thing goes all over the place.
Yeah.
So you have to use it on a separate, rod over the side of the boat.
Yep, like a gunnel mount type thing.
Okay, yeah, that answers a lot of questions that I came over here to find out, right?
Okay, good.
Can you link any of the Garmins? As far as I know, you can't, but can you?
You mean?
Like the one I have on there, and I say I put another echo map on the front of my boat. Can I link it without putting another transducer on?
Yep, you can sonar share.
You
So,
can?
yep, so
So
the
I
question-
can feed that off that.
Yep.
And I have one on my trolling motor too, a transducer, but obviously that's, you know, not gonna give me what I want with some of the things. You know, you gotta have a special transducer, but you're telling me I can actually link with that other one.
Yeah, so the question was, can you network across? Garmin's thing is full network integration. So you can have a transducer on the transom of the boat, and then it's running to your console unit. You can then Ethernet the console unit to the console at the front of the
Okay,
boat.
there is an
and then
Ethernet
share.
connection
Yep.
there.
So again, you're talking for sonar, it's got to be EchoMap 7 or 9, and then if you're just trying to share waypoints and tracks, then you can do that with the strikers.
If you're
and,
doing that, is
smaller
it
track
worth
modes.
really hooking it up to the trolling motor transducer?
Again, it
Yeah,
comes down to preference. Some people, I mean,
Like say clear view or down imaging.
yep, some people that want to see that while they're fishing. I mean, that's the whole thing. That's why you see multiple units on the bow of a boat. I mean, some people say 3's crazy, but they don't like breaking down into the
Yeah.
combination. They want dedicated everything right there. So they want to know what is below them at the bow of the boat, not at the transom of the boat. So guys, we'll definitely hook those trolling motor transducers up.
I would just add that, like if you got a 20-foot skeeter like me, and you're looking at your transom transducer, you're 20 foot away from that transducer.
Yep, exactly.
If you're fishing up front. So you're not seeing anything out in front of you or below you, you're seeing something at the back of the boat.
Okay, and saying that, can you take on that Garmin, being I'm hooked up with Ethernet to the one, is there a way to switch to where I just say, hooked it up to the trolling motor on the front? Can I switch that off and switch just to the view of what I'm getting off the transducer?
Yeah, you select the transducer that you
Oh, you
want to
can do that?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions back there? Oh, another one?
I just, an issue that I've had with my units is I'm out fishing, I've got my map, traditional sonar, side imaging, down imaging going. And I go to the down imaging, I see something on there, I wanna mark the waypoint. And I go to that screen and for some reason it goes into a zoom mode on me. And it actually pushes the bottom down to where I can't see what I was looking at. I can't figure out how to get it.
So I think you might want to turn your bottom lock on, that way it won't drop.
I think I tried that, and like I say, for some reason it goes into a zoom.
You're not full sizing the screen or anything out of that
No.
combo, but
I just go like you did here, you know, I just touch the screen.
Yep.
I mean, it's a 7612,
Yep.
and I go over on the down imaging, not the side imaging, but it seems to want to blow that screen up or go into some kind of a zoom function with it.
Pause your sonar. Yeah, but I don't know how to get
Like
that.
similar to that, right? What you just did there.
Well, that's because we're manipulating it because it's paused. So I'm scrolling around. So it's not really zooming.
Yeah,
It's
I
just-
can't, I can't get it to, I can't get my crosshairs down onto what it is that I want to see when it does that, and it's,
I'd push that one to support. I haven't seen that. Because like here, I mean, you pause it and then you can touch anywhere that you
right.
you want to.
Yeah, I don't know what it is,
Okay.
why it's doing that, but
We'll come back to that one. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
You can adjust frequencies on just the standard transducer for the Echomat, say the 93. You can adjust the frequency right on the screen.
Yes.
Now, which is better for shallow water, or is there one frequency better for the side view, or?
So obviously, the higher the frequency, the better it will be for shallow water, and then the lower frequency will be better for deeper water, because we're sending a lower pulse out, so it's able to penetrate in the water column a lot further down, and then again, that shallow water, if you're on that higher frequency, you don't have to go as deep, so you're going to get that more powerful return back there. That makes sense. But in turn, like, are you kind of wondering like what transducer you should have? You know, that because
Well, I
each
just
one
got
runs a
it
different.
today. I just got it today, so I don't. What normally comes with what trans? Are they always send the same one?
Yeah, I think they're coming paired with the GT52s. So you'll have your option there in the chirp to go in. I think I can show you where to do it on here. But yeah, so if I go into frequencies, you know, I can change the frequencies in the menu section there. Same thing on the Echo Maps as well. Any other questions? Did I answer some of your questions at least going through the PowerPoint that you might have asked?
Is that a special Ethernet?
It's a Garmin Marine network.
You have to have that
Yeah,
one.
it's a
I
Garmin
can't go
Marine.
down to Walmart and
No,
buy
it's
it.
a
I figured that, I just had to ask, so.
It's slightly different than Ethernet.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Going back to the updates question, with the older style strikers that don't seem to have an SD card slot, how do I update those units?
So there's
There's an update for mine.
really nothing to update in the striker because it's just there's no mapping and there's no software that we can push to those. They're just a basic fish finder GPS unit. I mean that's the functionality of it. Nothing over here. This side's quiet. No? Anything else? Yes, sir.
So to go to 9-inch ice unit, you use that 93 or 93 plus?
You would use the EchoMap Plus 93. Yep.
That'll accept LiveScope.
Yes, sir. Yep. So to kind of build that package, you would need the head unit, which would be a 93 or a 73 of the EchoMap Plus series, and then the LVS 32. And that comes with the black box and the transducer, and it plugs in right into the back of the unit.
Yeah, priced out with the ice, the large ice bag, it comes with a transducer and mount and stuff inside there to be able to get everything inside the bag.
Yep.
I think it's about like $2,800 right now.
Close to it, yeah. A lot of guys are using tackle boxes and tool boxes instead of buying the ice bag so they can, you know, put other stuff in it or bigger batteries, that kind of stuff. But it will fit into the large ice bundle bag right there.
Well, by going with that ice bundle, you get full for it, don't you?
Yep, you get it.
Plus
Yep.
the extra transducer.
Mm-hmm. And you can buy the pole separately too.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know which way is the best way to tackle that.
Yeah, the best way to do it is probably to buy the portable bundle kit and then the LiveScope and the EchoMap unit. If you want to build it yourself. And I think I've got a breakdown in my email of the best way to do it too, with all the part numbers and everything.
I'll get with you.
Yep.
Some of the 16 inches and stuff like that.
Back to your update question, I've got units on both that are networked together. If they're in the same family or whatever, will it update everything?
No. Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
No, you've got to update one unit and then update the other.
It seemed like mine actually did do the software update across the network.
I haven't
The-
heard
the
that. If it
76
did it, that's,
7610, 7612.
ooh, see, that's weird because,
Now, not
because
the
on that,
mapping.
because we actually mark on the update that it was registered to that unit for that update, and then you actually gotta re-download it onto the card. Because I know that just happened in Miami. I ran into that.
Yeah,
And they actually did a download, updated a 7600 unit, went to update the other 7600 unit, and were unable to. So I don't know how they would have networked.
it seemed like it did it over the network when I did the software update. Now, mapping update, it did not.
Yeah, but on the soft, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I would double check all your units and make sure they're on the same software.
Well, the first time I did it, it turned my PS21 into a PS31.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so
Yeah.
it's kind of weird.
Yes, sir.
On a unit like this, how do you determine where the hard and soft ones are?
So you're really gonna look at that coloration there. So that red means that's a pretty hard bottom there, and then it's kind of getting softer out because it's gonna fizzle. Because if it's hard like that and solid like that, that means it's a good hard bottom because we're getting that really nice return off that sonar sound that we sent. If it's soft, you're not gonna have nearly that solid coloration. It's gonna be more of that like a fuzzy TV screen type look.
So it doesn't change the color, it just gets thinner?
No, it gets basically that fuzz that you kind of see at the bottom here. You won't get that solidness.
Saying, I don't, this guy gets out here.
Like it's over.
Anything else? Before I forget, if you guys want to write down this number, type it in your phone for Garmin support. Again, they're based out of Olathe, Kansas and Salem, Oregon. So they're here in the US. It, I promise you, is the best number that you can have in your phone. And I do say that because if I didn't answer your question tonight, those guys see hundreds of questions, actually thousands of questions a year, where they encounter some of the stuff that I don't see or don't hear about. To the point where I actually call them sometimes and be like, "Have you guys received this call yet?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, we've dealt with it. This is what it is." So that number is 1-800-800-1020, and that's Garmin support. They're open Monday through Friday. Like I said, if you are in front of your unit, that's the best way to do it. Because these guys actually sit at their desk with all of the Garmin Marine units and can walk you through anything.
Can you
that
run
need.
that number one more time?
Yeah, again, it's 1-800-800-1020. But any other questions?
That it's 7 to 5, 8 to 5, through Monday through Friday.
Yeah, so 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, I think. Is that? Yep. And that's Central Time now. That is Central Time, so it's 9 to 6 Eastern Time. Is Indiana on Central?
Eastern.
It is on Eastern now, right?
Well, a little bit of both,
Parts of
yeah.
it.
Yeah, parts of it. You got Michigan City up there.
Yeah, I know
Hopefully.
Portage is.
Portage too?
Yeah.
Down in southern Indiana, it's the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
But I went to Bass Pro, and I got there an hour or two soon.
Yes, sir.